Get on the
George, we need your help!
Something was on top of me. This creature was feeding on my breast.
Space is silent, but isolation is loud. And when something goes wrong, there's nowhere to run. This is Stranded, a claustrophobic sci-fi horror where paranoia spreads faster than any infection, and the enemy may already be wearing a human face. Welcome to Epic Movie Recaps. Subscribe to the channel, grab a popcorn, and let's recap. The story takes place on Lunar Base Arc, a research station built on the surface of the moon. It's isolated, controlled, and completely dependent on routine. The crew lives by schedules, protocols, and procedures. Every movement is planned. Every mistake is recorded. Because in space, even small errors can be fatal. One day, without warning, the base is shaken by a sudden meteor storm. At first, it feels like turbulence. Then, alarms begin to scream. Colonel Gerard Brauchman, the base commander, a man who believes discipline is the only thing separating order from chaos, is first to arrive on deck. He quickly sends out a distress call to Earth, reporting the meteor storm and asking why didn't they warn him of the storm. That's when his superior told him he's in the dark about it, as he is. A meteor fragment suddenly smashed into a transmission pole, shattering it to pieces, which made them instantly lost signal with the superior on Earth. Ava Cameron, a skilled engineer, observant, intelligent, and quietly intuitive, she notices things others overlook, which makes her invaluable, realizes that signal was lost and that they have lost a transmission pole. The emergency alarm echoed through the base, which wakes up Dr. Krauss, a scientist who trusts data more than people and logic more than instinct, who jumps up, put on his pants, and proceeded to wake up Bruce John, a technical analyst, an expert in his field. They both ran to the main station where they met the others, and quickly proceed to analyze the situation. As they were checking the system, a meteor fragment suddenly slams into one of the base's wings, throwing everyone on the ground, rupturing the structure, and flooding the area with toxic gas.
See if you can get us back online with ground control. Run out!
You can see everyone reviving after the damage, and because of the toxic gas, John was suffocating, unable to breathe. Ava then quickly gave him an oxygen mask, which she then puts on one. The section becomes instantly uninhabitable, and then Dr. Krauss was ordered to turn on the backup system, which comes on instantly stabilizing the oxygen so they can breathe comfortably. With no time to waste, Colonel Gerard Brauchman orders the wings sealed. But there's a problem. If they don't retrieve samples from the debris, they may never understand what just hit them, so someone has to go in. He then ordered Bruce John to go on the mission, but seeing the state he was in, seeing her determination, Colonel Brauchman gave her the go-ahead with strict instructions on what to do. She then made her way to the wing. They told her to abort the mission because the suit could be still damaged, and any little tear in the suit can lead to fatality. She proceeded to suit up anyways and made her way to the door of the damaged section. Before she steps in, Colonel gave her one more chance to abort the mission, but she was determined. He then opened the door and gave the control over to her. As the door opens, you can see debris flying and toxic gas rushing like a sandstorm. Ava then steps in and closes the door behind her. She then walks around assessing the area, reporting the information back to Colonel and the crew as she go along. Then she finds it, the meteor fragment. It doesn't look like an ordinary space rock. Its surface appears uneven, almost organic, and that suddenly moves the rock, which allows a burst of toxic carbon monoxide to escape from the broken pipes. She then was able to find the valve and turn off the leakage. Ava secures a sample and was returning to base. As she passed through a section, the heat mix with the gas caused an explosion that was so strong it threw Ava on the ground, while a heavy iron thing fell on her, restricting her movement and cutting of her connection to the others. Colonel Brauchman and John hurriedly put on their mask and went to her rescue. They entered the section shouting out her name. They shouted, and then they heard her. They moved diagnostics to see what else they could find. But while she was handling it in the lab, she accidentally cuts her finger. It's a small wound, barely noticeable. But the sample reacts. Microscopic spores respond to the blood. And without anyone realizing it, something enters her body. While Dr. Krauss and John was talking, Ava was seen looking sick, like she was about to pass out. It was noticed by John, who asked her if she was okay, and she replied, "She's just feeling a little tired and is going into her room to lay down." Dr. Krauss notices but quickly dismisses it. What he fails to see is that the organism isn't attacking Ava, it's learning from her. As she was walking to her room, she suddenly felt a sharp pain. It was so severe she dropped the flashlight and was unable to stand without holding on to something. Unable to bear the pain, Ava slowly walked while bracing onto the wall. She barely reached her room when her sight became foggy, and that's when she passed out on her bed. Next, you can see Ava waking up in the sickbay, surrounded by Dr. Krauss and John. They had a worried look on their face, which makes Ava start to ask questions. Then suddenly, the camera shifts to Ava's belly, looking swollen like she was pregnant. When Ava saw it, she was terrified and confused. The organism that was transferred to Ava's body did the impossible. Medical scans revealed that Ava is pregnant. The news shocks the entire crew. There is no logical explanation, but what's even more disturbing is how fast the pregnancy progresses. The three males were reasoning, trying to find out what can be the explanation for this. Colonel Brauchman suggested that she should go in quarantine until they can figure out what's happening. Dr. Krauss and John said no, because she is going to need constant supervision. Dr. Krauss and John was administering aid to Ava when John found out that the pregnancy is far along, which means she would be having the baby soon, which is impossible within the time frame. John asked the doctor what if the spores infected her, and he replied,
well, then we'd be in deep shit.
Then the scene shifts to Ava's empty bed, where she is on the ground covered in blood. She is in labor, pain so gruesome which is visible on her face. She pushed and pushed while screaming, which alerted the others. She gave birth, but when she looked on the baby, she was so frightened. But because of the pressure and pain she went through to give birth, she eventually passed out before she could even think. A small, agile creature escapes before anyone can react. It vanishes into the ventilation system. From that moment on, Lunar Base Arc is no longer secure. Ava passed out on the floor. Then Colonel Brauchman entered the bay with John, and seeing Ava's condition, John, without hesitation, rushed to her side. The colonel tried to stop him, saying, "The room is contaminated." John disobeyed the colonel, and with Dr. Krauss, who came in shortly after the two. Together they lift Ava and place her onto the bed. You can see the colonel scanning the room as talking about. That's when he pointed to the corner and said something was in the room. He then showed them the bite mark on his foot, trying to convince them that something was indeed in the sickbay, and it's not human. John saying that he was bitten by something. While they were talking, John stated that what something used Ava to reproduce itself. That's when Dr. Krauss told him to lay off the drinking and get some rest. As the doctor walked out, John went to refill his bottle, and while he was there, you could see that something was watching him from the vent. It was watching John every move like it was studying him. John sensed it, so he started to look through the room, and that's when he got a call through the intercom from Colonel Brauchman, inquiring about the solar panels that he was supposed to work on because there was no power. John left and went to work on the system to restore power to the base. While he was down there, he could feel like something was watching him. While John was working on the panel, he turned around and you could see the creature dodges as John looks up. John finally get the power up and running and returned to his quarters. As he stepped in the room, he was surprised at what he saw. The room was littered with debris on the ground. Then the scene shifts to something in the air vent, a human-like creature bursting out of a cocoon-like rubbery material. John was then seen in his room, going crazy walking around. Then he started banging his head on the wall, trying to convince himself that he is not going insane. John banged his head so hard it shut out the light, leaving him in pitch black darkness. As soon as he turned the lamp on, there he was, the creature, standing directly in front of John. Dr. Krauss then arrived, only to find John standing alone in his room in a daze. So he ordered him to hit treadmill and get his thing together. John take a break from the treadmill to get a drink. As he was drinking, he heard the treadmill running, so he looked back. To his surprise, the human-like creature was on the treadmill running. Next, we see Colonel checking the camera footage of Ava's accident of her finger getting cut. He then went straight to the sickbay to confront her on why she withheld this information. While he was there talking to her, the human-like creature appears in front of the glass, who was seen by Ava, and by the time the colonel looks around, he was gone. Ava then warned him that if he don't release her, his and everyone else's life on the bay is in jeopardy. The colonel then told Ava that he considered that as a threat and will be placing her on lockdown, which made Ava furious. The doctor asked the colonel what happened, and he replied that the chain of command has been broken because he was attacked by John. He then ordered Dr. Kraus to get John, so to get some explanation from him, the colonel then suddenly remembered that the door to the sickbay wasn't closed. So he quickly went to the cupboard, took out a syringe with an injection needle. While he was there, the human-like creature was seen watching him from the air vent. Before Colonel Brauchman could reach to close the door to the sickbay, John swiftly went in and unstrapped Ava from the bed. He then stood there wanting to talk to Ava. Colonel Brauchman walked in Hua's surprise to find Ava unstrapped from the bed. He then told her she has to be strapped back in because it's protocol. But Ava was not trying to hear that, exposing the syringe with the needle. Ava switched to combat mode when she saw it, took up a sharp object, and stabbed him in the stomach area. He was successful in grabbing her, and without hesitation, he injected her with something to put her to sleep. Soon, Dr. Kraus arrived and asked the colonel what happened, and he stated that she attacked him. Dr. Kraus then proceeded to take up Ava. That's when he secretly picked up the syringe that the colonel used to inject Ava and put it in his pocket. The scene then shifts to John in his room, looking sick, paranoid, and scared to death. He sat on his bed with a small knife, and when he looked towards the door, something quickly moves to the side. It was the human-like creature, the intention to eliminate him and take his place in the world. Door and entered the bathroom when he saw his reflection in the mirror and started to lash out. In his rage, he used the light that was in his hands to smash the mirror. Not long after, another Bruce appears. When the creature reveals itself, it was identical in every way. The horrifying truth becomes clear. The creature doesn't simply eliminate its hosts, it duplicates them perfectly. While Dr. Kraus was stitching up the colonel wound, he took out the syringe and asked him to explain. He told him that Ava threatened him, and the station guideline states that she should be in isolation. The doctor told him he went to the sick, viewed the tapes, and saw that Ava had accidentally cut her finger on one of the test tubes containing the spores and got infected. The doctor then went to the sickbay to confront Ava. The scene then shifted to the creature putting down the piece of mirror that was covered with blood. It had eliminated John, changed into his clothes, and was ready to take his place. Dr. Kraus was suddenly heard banging on John's room door, which was locked, so he bypassed and gained access, but the creature was long gone, leaving John covered in blood and lifeless. The doctor then took up a blanket and covered John's body. He also found the recording device that John keeps as a diary. When he played it, he realized that John was telling the truth all along, but it was too late. He ordered it and aimed his space gun to shoot, but the creature escaped before he could pull the trigger. Then Dr. Kraus arrived and almost got shot by the colonel, who was still in defense mode. Colonel Brauchman then told him that he was attacked by John, and it seems that he has lost his mind. The doctor froze in shock. That was impossible because he had saw John's body, so he was sure it wasn't John. It was something else. They both then quickly ran to the sickbay to see Ava. When they arrived, Ava suspiciously told them that John is dead. The doctor asked her how could she know when she was in lockdown, and that's when she revealed that she can sense what the creature is doing. Colonel then told her that her help will be needed to capture and eliminate the creature, but Ava told him she won't be of any help because the creature has learned a lot and is in an advanced state of its development. The three returned to the main station, and then they realized something was wrong. The creature has cut off the oxygen. They quickly located the damage. Dr. Kraus and Ava was able to fix it, restoring the oxygen, Ava by the throat and toss her violently. Ava then quickly activate the airlock system, allowing the door to space to open. The creature was suddenly sucked in by a straw to get the door lock. He was able to get the door closed, but as he was making his way to check on the damage, the creature who was hiding in the corner grabbed his hand and swing him towards the airlock door and quickly activate it, trapping the doctor inside with just 30 seconds to evacuate. Ava tried to override the system, but it was too late. The door opened and Dr. Kraus was instantly decimated. While an unknown creature is destined to arrive on Earth in an escape pod, if you watched to this part, then you are one of our amazing epicants. Thank you, and we appreciate you so much. Please support by just hitting the subscribe button and click the bell for exclusive notifications. See you in the next recap.